Before you hear me ramble on, spoilers ahead for the boys, by the way. What the fudge was that actual ending? Like that, what the fudge was that whole final series? I am so lost for how incredibly disappointed I was. There were so many like predictable moments in that. For example, I felt like Frenchie would die because they kept like hinting at it. You felt like A-Train was going to die because of his redemption. You felt like Ryan was going to come in. There were so many moments that were predictable, and for what made that show, like looking across that whole final series, the best thing for me was Terra with the little flash, like the little dreams with Homelander, which was just incredibly funny. And there were like moments of humour, but it just did not feel like the boys. It felt rushed. It felt, it made an embarrassment of Gen V. Genuinely, like, what was the purpose of creating this spin-off, Gen V? Marie Monroe, all these side characters to then ship them off to Canada and make them nothing. Where was Sam? There was so much in that just left me thinking incredibly disappointed. Butcher had to die. It made perfect sense for Butcher to die. Huey killing him, it just... And then why are the Soup still alive? Why? I don't want any spin-offs. If any more spin-offs come of this, I actually have no interest in watching them, and I feel horrible and just a bit distant in saying that, because I have loved this TV show so much. It is broken so many barriers in terms of the humour and stuff, and I get so much of sort of the imagery and the metaphors and everything else that we're trying to tell. And this might sound incredibly nuts, but part of me actually now is watching TV shows sort of hoping that the villain actually wins, as a just to be different, because you knew that Homelander was going to die. And I know The Boys is largely a reflection on, well, if it's a metaphor for what Trump's America is right now, unfortunately, Trump's America has actually won. They are still in charge. They're in their second term. This is the world this is the cluster duck of a world that we live in. And I just came out of that feeling incredibly disappointed for everything that show offered. And I like the way that, the Flood died. I like the way that so many of those characters died. I don't like that Firecracker was killed, but you go, oh, shock factor, oh, whatever. It was just too much of it. Just felt rushed. And I'm not comparing it to Game of Thrones level. Part of me actually likes the final series of Game of Thrones. Don't arrest me, right? But I just come out of that just feeling like, wow, what a great show ruined in the final series. I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be negative. I think there were so many great moments in that TV show. Maybe I'll watch it again one day, but I'll have to forget that ending. So disappointing. Just gave Harry Potter vibes in terms of Voldemort having all these opportunities to kill Harry. I know, obviously, because of the Horcrux, whatever. There's so many, but it gave so many moments of just, the main character, the main enemy could kill the main character so many times, didn't do it. Soldier Boy is still frozen. How were they able to aimlessly walk around as the most wanted people in America? What was the story going on across the world? It just felt incredibly rushed.